Hi, Kymberly, what brings you in today?
You know, I just found out some devastating news about one of my best friends. I found out she was sleeping with my boyfriend behind my back.
Oh no, that sounds like that'd be a really rough experience. Can you tell me a little more about that?
So she's been my best friend since we were 7 years old. Um, it's just really tough because she's someone that I thought I would have in my life forever with, being friends for almost 27 years. I found out she came to work with me for my summer job because she was living in Florida and they were hanging out. But we were all hanging out together, and then someone brought it to my attention that they were kissing at the bar.
So, in other words, you guys have been friends pretty much your whole life, or?
Yes.
And she had moved to Florida, right?
Yes.
And then you guys had got back together, and this happened, what, during the summer or during the winter?
Yeah, so she moved away about 10 years ago, and I go visit her once a year. And we were still really close. Every time she would come home to visit, I spent all my time with her. She was basically like the sister I never had, even though I had a sister, but we were closer. So I was a manager at my job and asked her if she wanted to come home for the summer and work with me. So she did, and her boyfriend at the time had meningitis and he almost died. And so for 2 years she had to take care of him. It was really stressful. And then when she came home, she just let loose for the summer and found out she was hooking up with my boyfriend behind my back.
So, in other words, to sum this up, you guys were really tight. I'm sure this took a big toll on the friendship. Can you tell me a little more about what made you two click so well?
Basically we were inseparable when we were younger, and we were kind of like the wild friends who just partied all the time. And when we were 17, I'm the one who got the first vehicle, so everyone thought we lived out of my car because we just had all of our clothes and swimsuits, and we were just, super tight. So we just completed each other, I guess.
So, if I could get a little family background, do you have any sisters?
I do. I'm 8 years older than one that lives on my dad's side, which is 2 hours away from here. So I only saw her every other weekend and for the summers while growing up. But with the big age group, the age gap, we didn't really bond. And then my other sister, I'm 6 years older than, so I never really had the sister bond because of so many age gaps.
But you had the bond with her because you spent so much time, in other words, right?
Yes.
Do you know much about her background? Does she have brothers and sisters?
She has one sister. She is only 2 years older than her. Parents divorced when they were young, but her sister was the hermit and basically was the daddy's girl, and my friend lived with her mom, so they had a lot of differences, fought all the time because they were so close in age. So it was just tough. I had the age gaps and they didn't really click because they lived in separate houses.
Why do you think that? Is she an empathetic person, would you say? Does she have real close? I mean, I know you guys are close. You said you were close, but do you feel that? I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you think that she felt bad that she did this to you?
I know she felt bad. So the way I found out was, so I was with someone who liked to cheat on me all the time, and I was in this vicious cycle thinking I could fix him because that's the kind of person I am. And he had cheated on me with another girl, and he got drunk. He had a drinking problem, and he left his phone in her truck, and she called me and said, I know you don't want to talk to me because you don't like me for what happened in the past, but she's like, there's something you need to see. So she got into his phone, cracked the code, and sent me pictures of all of their messages. And it was, we should run away together, and Kim has no idea. And I didn't find all this out till the day after she went back to Florida to live with her boyfriend. So I almost drove down there to stab her because I was so upset.
Okay, so to sum this all up, basically, she did this, that wrecked your bond together. Do you feel at this point that the friendship with her is savable or even intact anymore?
So actually, we didn't talk for 8 months, and I would blow up her phone with messages like, how could you do this to me? So we didn't talk for 8 months, and after 8 months, she came back again for another summer, and I asked her if I could pick her up so we could just, talk, and she said, I'm okay with that. Well, when I got there, her sister was waiting with her outside because she thought I was going to jump her. And she got in the car. She said she was sorry. She started crying. And I just told her, like, how could you do this to me? Like, how can we be friends? And she just said she was in a messed up place because for the last 2 years she had to be with her boyfriend, taking care of him, almost dying, and she just wanted to let loose. And she said one night, she told me she had already taken her sleeping pill for the night, but she went out and he was outside the bar and said, you want to go have a shot? And she's like, I knew right there if I said yes, it was going to happen.
Okay, so I see. So at this point, what do you think you might have been able to do different, if anything, in this situation?
I probably should have broke up with him sooner. Other than that, I trusted her. She was like, my sister from another mister, like, just affects every other relationship now.
I can understand that, and when somebody definitely betrays their trust, I think that puts a big burden on the friendship. I guess if you could look back, is there anything now looking back that you would do differently than what you did, or?
I would not invite her to come work with me for the summer.
Okay. So if I'm understanding everything correctly, when she went back to Florida and everything, so at this point the friendship is completely irreconcilable. There's no chance of it ever being repaired again, or?
So after the 8 months, we did repair it. I told her, like, I can forgive, but I didn't forget, and everything, like, it's gonna be in the back of my mind. She came back the next summer to work with me, and then she started ghosting her boyfriend, started drinking at work all the time. She was hired at the job to be the new bar manager, and she just started drinking at work, and then once again turned into be, a terrible friend. And from there it's been rocky, but my oldest son's dad and her are stepbrother and sister, so like she still sees my kid, so it's been tough.
So she likely, going on what you're saying, that you're gonna probably have some dealing with her for some time because the kids are friends, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like 10 minutes.
I guess if you don't mind, when you were growing up, what, in your words, really makes up a friendship? What is most important to you in somebody that that you consider or you call a friend?
Definitely loyalty. Being able to count on them. If there's anything I need, they'll be there, and the respect is equal. just someone that I can trust and laugh with and not have to worry if they're gonna stab me in the back.
So if I'm understanding it again correctly, trust is like one of the biggest things that you put into any type of relationship, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes.
If she was here right now, is there, and I say she's sitting right here, what would you say to her that you think she really needs to hear at this point?
I would probably tell her I wish she could see how her actions affect people and how impulse thinking or acting, can really mess things up, and think before you do something and how it's gonna affect, like, ripple effect and not just yourself.
So when you talk about impulses, do you feel like you're an impulsive person or not at all?
I have been known to make impulse decisions. It's usually if I'm gonna travel and I get this bug in my ear, like, oh, let's travel, then I like book a flight and then panic how it's gonna work out. So I do impulse act.
Does your impulsivity cause you problems, would you say?
Probably sometimes. Could probably avoid it if I would just like take the time to think about something longer.
Well, I can definitely see how this can affect you, and especially with it being such a close friend and her, going after your boyfriend. If she was to come up right now and say, I'm sincerely sorry, I know I shouldn't have did this, I was way out of line, can you please forgive me? What do you think you'd say to her?
I would tell her that she'd have to make an effort and really prove to me that she deserves to be in my life, because she's really bad at communication, and I feel like communication is key with any relationship. So I feel like if you want to hang out, you're going to get a hold of me. I'm not going to be the one to chase you.
So communicating, one-on-one is real big with you also, right?
Yes. 6 minutes.
I guess getting back to her again can you go a little more like back to when you guys were really close friends? I mean, did you guys do everything together or?
Yeah, we were inseparable. Like I said, people thought we lived out of my car when we were teenagers, because we were just basically went home to eat and shower and sleep. But my mom, even when we were in high school, she would let her sleep over, and her mom would call and ask what we were doing. And even though my mom knew we snuck out of the house, my mom would cover for her and say, oh yeah, they're just watching a movie, and every time I went to my dad's house, I asked her to come with me because it was 2 hours away and I hated going there by myself. So yeah, like we were as close as twins basically.
So I can definitely understand that would be something that would really bum me out. Is there anything else that you think, if she was here in front of you, you'd like to say to her that would really be impactful, that may, help her to understand more of what she did and how it affected you?
I'd probably ask her, like, how would she think she would feel finding out if I did the same thing, because now I'm in therapy and I talk about it every other week, because actually her and I deleted her off of Facebook last week, because when I was telling you about the baby shower problem with one friend, she was actually sticking up for that friend that I just cut out of my life. And so I deleted her off of Facebook, and she messaged me and was like, why would you do that? And I said, we're no longer friends. You did what you did to me. And she said, well, after 6 years, you're still talking about it, and I let you beat me down with words because I wanted to be your friend. And I said, it might have been 6 years for you, but now I'm in therapy, and it's every relationship for the rest of my life. If a best friend of 20 some years can do the unthinkable, how is someone that's known me for 6 months not going to do the same thing?
And she knows, when you say that you're in therapy, did you tell her how important it is that you you know, you get this out when you come to see your therapist, that this is bothering you to that extent?
Yeah, I tell her, it's always in the back of my mind, always. So she might want me to forgive and forget, but this is something, even though it's been this time, like, it's tough to talk about because now I'm reliving it, and it's just not good.
And you know, when you come to talk to me about this, to sum this all up, it sounds like, you know, you've gone the extra mile with her, that you put in the time, the effort. She realizes how much she's actually hurt you. It sounds like everything that you're telling me is that you're better off at this point because she's not interfering in your life and definitely not interfering in your relationships. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yes, definitely. People grow apart and that's okay. Like, she was a part of a big chapter, and I'm not gonna act like I don't know her if I see her at the store, but she just doesn't have that spot, in my life anymore.
And you don't think, again, going back to this, if she was to come back up to you and say, I wanna put this friendship back together, or have it somewhat intact, that basically what I'm getting from you is that you just don't trust her at all, correct?
Correct.
And it sounds like trust is a real big thing too in a relationship.
Absolutely.
How does that make you feel that, you know, she went behind your back and that you had trusted her, and now, you know, she pulled this on you? And does that make it hard for you to trust anybody else?
I feel, when I first found out, like, I hated everybody. I talked to people very meanly, and I feel like the friends that I've gained since then, I have a lot of respect for them because they're just different type of people. They're not like jealous or, like, we have a different connection. So I feel from losing her, I've actually gained better friends that I would never have to question, and those are actually people that I do trust. So, and she got me out of the vicious cycle with the ex-boyfriend because I feel like that was the last straw to get me out of that vicious circle. So at one point I actually thanked her for being so dumb, because now I would never think of trying it with him again.
Good. Well, you know, just to wrap our whole session up today, now that you've came and you said that your real close friend that you had grown up with you had found out that she was cheating with your boyfriend and that she was kissing him, and, we've discussed that, how important trust and reliability is in a friend, and I think you've come a long way. The fact that you recognize these things and that, you can't trust her anymore. I guess one last question would be, is there anything you think you could have done differently, or do you think you handled this appropriately?
I think I didn't have to be so aggressive and hateful towards other people because it wasn't other people's fault what she did to me. So I think the way I treated others because of the way I was hurting, I could have definitely changed that.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you came in and we discussed this, and I think before next week, maybe, if there's anything else you can come up with that you want to talk about, her and what she's done to you. Personally, I think that, friendship is important too, and I guess if I had friends that I couldn't trust like that, especially when it came to my mate or something, I'd probably make the same decision you did. So do you feel better that we've discussed this now and that you've got a better outcome on it?
Yes. I'm glad to have another non-biased opinion to talk about this. Like I said, I've seen a therapist, and now I'm seeing you, as a second backup. So I feel good that I let it off my chest again and with a different perspective.
Good. Well, and good. I think we're going in the right direction then. We'll talk about more of this next week. Sound good?
Yes. Thank
right.
you.